So this is my coming out story, and I thought I would do it because everyone liked my status and stuff. I'm just gonna start because I don't know how long this video can go. It all started when I was 8. I kissed a girl because she spent the night at my grandma's house, and we had like a sleepover kind of thing. We played mom and dad, and I was the dad, she was the mom, and we kissed. I don't think either of us knew what was going on. It was just a game to us, and that's what mom and dads did. And my great grandma found out, and she brought me in the living room, and she said she would never tell my mom. And I didn't know why she said that. So I just, if she wasn't gonna tell my mom, I wasn't gonna do it either because I didn't want to get in trouble. So that kind of just, I never talked about it again. She never told anyone. She actually died with that secret, and I thank her every day for it. I forgot about it for a while. And in third grade I got my best friend. That's when it kind of started up again. I didn't fall in love with her or anything. I didn't even like her. We were just best friends, and that's when I started I just started liking a lot of her friends. I started just I just started liking a lot of her friends. She would have the prettiest friends, and I was like, oh my god. And every other girl in the school was obsessing over this one guy, and I wasn't, because I was too busy obsessing over all of the girls. But it didn't really change anything. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't care. I was still too much of a tomboy to even think about it. I was just too much of a kid. 4th grade, dated a guy. I dated him 8 times because it was 4th grade. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. 5th grade, I dated a guy for a long time. We never kissed or anything. It was just holding hands and stuff. It was weird. It was really weird. 6th grade, I dated a lot of guys because that's when I started freaking out about it, because I knew what it was. I knew that my mom hated it. She hated it. She would tell me how big of a fear it was to her that one of her kids is going to turn out gay. And I love my mom. I mean, I still do, but I love her. She was my mom. And I didn't want to go through it. So I got that tingling sensation that girls got with guys. I didn't get it with guys, I got it with girls. And I didn't want it at all. So, probably from 5th grade I started praying every single night that I wouldn't feel like this. So I dated a bunch of guys because I didn't want to feel like this. I wanted to just be the same as everyone else. I hated it. That was a hard year, sort of. 7th grade happened, and I dated a guy almost half a year. And I don't know, probably only dated a few months. It just seemed too long. But we kissed, and that was it. It was weird. It was like kissing a brother. It was really weird. But we broke up, and didn't faze me. I didn't cry about it like all the other girls did when they broke up with their boyfriends. I was like, okay, have fun. I don't know when I started dating girls. I still didn't like it. I hated it. But I wanted to see what I just wanted to see what it was. I didn't know if it made me happy or something. But it was they lived miles, thousands of miles away, because I didn't want anyone here to know. 7th and 8th grade, I just had a few girl crushes, and the girls I had crushes on are still my friends now. It was funny. But when 9th grade happened, that's when it all changed. I liked a girl that was straight, and I can tell you right now, that's the hardest thing in the world to do. Because when you like someone that's straight, especially when you're not out, because you have to come to that fact by yourself on top of the fact that you don't want to be gay, and the fact that you can't have her and you never will. It's but I got over it. Nothing really happened in 9th grade. That was it. I mean, we were still going through a divorce. I don't think that changed a lot. It was weird. I think the divorce did a big effect on me because I didn't have a close relationship with my dad. I only had my mom. Because my mom would always tell me stuff that my dad did wrong, and I just thought my dad was a horrible guy. So, I only had my mom, and I knew how much my mom would have hated me. So, I just carried it inside forever, and it was horrible. But when 9th grade was done, the summer came, I hung out with my cousin for the first time in like years. And she told me that she was gay. And then 3 days later, I told her I was. And I thought it was going to be something like, you're going to help me and stuff like that, but it wasn't at all. It wasn't. It was just, let's go get bitches. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it was weird. But she was the only person I felt comfortable with ever, because we're the same person, and I loved having someone that was like me to talk to, that knew me. But every time I'd go back to school, I hated going back to school, because no one knew who I was, and she lived 2 hours away, and we never talked. So going back to school was hard, and I just put my headphones on, and I would walk down the hall to my next class, so I didn't have to talk to anyone, especially the girl that I liked the year before. Because I didn't want anything to do with her, because I didn't want to be who I was. I hated myself so much. And that was in 10th grade, and then in the middle of 10th grade, I got she used to be my best friend, she's not anymore, but we used to be best friends, and she helped me a lot through it. And I had asked her like, a few months after, we were friends, I asked her, I said, what if I came out? And she said, Alexis, I can see you being the kind of person that never comes out because you're too afraid of what everyone's going to think. And you're too afraid to do it, and you're just going to live your life as a lie. And when she said that, I saw that in myself too. Because I was so scared. But I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to, let it out because I couldn't hold it anymore. So, I asked my cousin if she would help me that summer. And she said no, because she didn't want to come out to the rest of the family, like my mom and my grandma. And she was just out to, her immediate family, like her mom, I think her dad or something, and her brothers. And she didn't want to come out to the family. So, I was alone. And she told me that it would ruin the family, and then I had to wait until I graduated. And it killed me, because I didn't want to wait till I graduated to be happy, because I didn't think I was ever going to make it to graduation. So, I cried that entire day, because I asked her on the bus, and I cried that entire day. Well, after third hour, I walked down to the hallway, put my headphones in, and the girl that I liked the year before stopped me and said, we're going to the counselor's office, because I couldn't even breathe, I was crying so hard. So, on the way down to the counselor's office, I thought in my mind, I said, you need to tell her, because if you don't, you're never ever gonna make it. So, when we got to the counselor's office, we got a room, and I said, I'm gay. And she said, that's cool. And I swear to God, I wanted to hit her in the face, because of all those times that I was so afraid to tell everyone, she looked at me and said, that's cool. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I told her that I liked her, and she said, well, I'm not like that, but that's weird. She asked me why. She's like, why did you fall for me? I said, I have no fucking idea. But we got past that, and I moved on. I don't like her. I mean, she's my friend now, but, I don't like her like that anymore. But, a few days after that, the next day, I think I told 3 more people. The fourth person, I told 3 more people that day. One of them I was really scared to tell, but she ended up, changing a lot because I told her. Now I think she's there for me the most out of everyone. Besides my best friend, which is, Carly, but she's one of the people that I know I can go talk to for anything, and she told me, she said, if anyone gives you shit, I'll beat their ass. I love her to death. She's one of my best friends. Well then, the girl that I told, the very first girl I told, she told her boyfriend. I didn't like her boyfriend. I didn't trust him at all. I hated him. And I didn't trust him not to go tell everyone. So I had to come out that weekend. So, because I didn't want my mom to figure it out. So, I called my aunt Amanda, and I told her that I was gay. And I asked her if she would help me that weekend because Emily wasn't going to be down. Like my cousin, she wasn't going to be down, and no one would even think about her. And she said, yeah, that's fine if you really want to do it. And I said, I do. So, the day came. It was Saturday, April 6th, 2013. It was the most nerve-wracking day of my life, and it was the hardest day of my life. I was so scared. Well, we decided to all go shopping. Me, my grandma, my Aunt Amanda, my Aunt Sam, and my mom. And we were going to go back to my grandma's house to show my Aunt Amanda all the different things they did at their house. And that's what I was going to tell them. So the entire day that I was shopping, it was the hardest day of my life. Thought I was going to barf or cry. I think I cried, and I felt like I was going to barf every second of the day. And as the day got closer, it got worse. Well, the very first store we went to, it was just me, my grandma, and my two aunts. And my Aunt Amanda already knew, but my Aunt Sam didn't. I wasn't really scared to tell her, because they were kind of they weren't, they were very modern, and they were new, they were very nowadays, and they were accepting kind of people. And I started crying, and she took me outside, and she told me, and I told her, and she patted me on the shoulder and said, why the hell didn't you tell me? And I said, I was scared. She's like, you have no scare. You don't have to be scared for that. I'm not going to look at you any differently. You're still my niece, and I still love you the exact same. You're just like girls. And she's like, me and Chad have gay friends, and it doesn't affect us at all. And I was so happy. So then we shopped, and it was hard. But then we got back to my grandma's house, and I said, I'm all down, and I said, I'm gay. And I started blowing my eyes out. And the moment I said that, my mom, I'll never forget her face. She looked at me, and I had, sucked the life out of her. And it was the hardest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Her eyes were just black, and she couldn't even look at me. And I started screaming at God and how much I hated him for doing this to me. And my grandma started crying. It was the very first time I ever saw my grandma cry. And I was the one that did it. My two aunts came out and, calmed me down. And my grandpa came out and gave me a hug. My grandma called the pastor. And my mom went out in the yard and just was crying. And I had a meeting with the pastor, and it was the most awkward thing in my life. I just sat there while they were telling me how my lifestyle was going to lead to abandonment and adultery and hatred and all this stuff, and it was horrible. I hated myself because I didn't know how to change it. And me and my mom's relationship hasn't been the same. I moved out into my dad's house because I told him that summer, and he said, I will always love you, and me and my dad got a lot closer. But, so it turned out to be great. I mean, I moved out. My mom kicked me out at first, and then I moved out. And now I'm living with my dad, and I couldn't be happier, and I have the most amazing person in my life that makes me the happiest I've ever been, ever. Her name's Liz, and I love her more than anything in the world. And I'm happy now. It got really, really, really hard, but it does get better, a lot better. And if anyone out there is afraid to tell anyone, I'm always here to talk, and I'm not going to tell anyone, I promise. I mean, that's not my secret to tell, and I would never do that. But it does get better, a lot better. You just have to you kind of have to be the